Hello, my name is Austin Brewster. I'm a nurse and a nurse coach, and I just want to take a little bit of time today to explain why any of this matters to me and why I'm being vocal about it now. And it's because not a lot of this stuff is new to me. It's just I need to get this message out there somehow. I need other people to hear it and understand. So there's a lot of reasons why I've wanted to be vocal about it, but this was really the defining moment that made me realize that I have no choice and I have to. Unfortunately, it happened as a health problem with my youngest son. Me and my wife had a very hard time with this, but February of 2023, February 2023, River woke up one morning. He had a seizure, right after he woke up. It was a very short seizure. He didn't go apneic or anything like that. My first instinct was that we need to get him in the sun and we need to give him some vitamin D, because I knew low vitamin D is wintertime. I knew that has something to do with it. And we also had stopped giving him vitamin D drops at 1 month like we were instructed by a pediatrician. So he had a seizure when he woke up. We went to the beach and he didn't have a seizure all day. As soon as we get back into the car, he had a seizure. And then he ended, and they were short, less than 30 seconds long. And he had one on the way home and then another one right before he went to sleep. Very, very short. And he wasn't necessarily having a strong post-ictal phase, which is the phase after you have a seizure where you're tired and whatnot. So, through my research, I thought it was something called Sandifer syndrome, which is seizure-like activity in children under 2 years old, lasting up to 2 minutes with periods of apnea. And it's related to acid reflux. And he was always burping and then having a seizure. So I really thought it was that, but when he woke up the next day and he had another seizure, and it lasted about a minute, it was longer. We took him to Riley Hospital. Nothing was wrong. He had no markers for any sort of infection. He had no risk factors for a seizure, anything like that. And, they weren't really sure on the cause, and, they never ended up finding the cause of why it happened. But I had some ideas. So when we got to the hospital, I made sure that Tiffany brought her pump, because her pump for her breast, to pump her breast milk out. And she started to pump and dump and then feed him, because I thought that it was something was in the milk that was causing this to happen, because the day before the seizures happened, Tiffany had her first migraine in a long time. And we had also eaten some food that we don't usually eat. And she had her first migraine. 24 hours later, he had a seizure and he had a rash as well. So really, I was wondering if there was something that she was metabolizing that he couldn't metabolize, he couldn't handle. So she pumped and dumped from that morning until that night. He didn't have a seizure all day. He was hooked up to the monitor in the hospital, did not have a seizure. We went to sleep that night around 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. And overnight, when he woke up, she just fed him, and she laid back down and went back to sleep. But he was still hooked up to the EEG. Well, the next morning, lo and behold, she didn't pump and dump, and he had a seizure right after she fed him. So I presented that to the doctors, and they thought there was no correlation with that. I'm like, no, there might be a pretty significant correlation. That makes a whole lot of sense. And typically when a family member brings up ideas to a doctor, the doctor has too big of an ego to ever entertain it. She did know I was an ICU nurse, and I was just asking for some simple things. I was like, can we just test his vitamin D? Can we get a vitamin B6 level tested? I wanted to know what his vitamin B12 level was. And I was curious on thyroid function, and said, no, that's not necessary for this. If you need that stuff done, just do it outpatient. We can order that when you come to the next appointment. And they had already done an MRI, they'd done a CT, like they could not find any reason for this seizure. But when they finally caught one on the EEG, they came in about 5 minutes later and they said, oh, he had this seizure, he's got this seizure disorder, there's genetic testing we're gonna do, he's gonna need to be on medicine called Keppra. And which, some people know what that is, but it's seizure medicine. It's the most common seizure medicine. It's quote unquote the safest seizure medicine, but it's, well known to have behavioral issues, to create behavioral issues, and specifically rage and cause neurodevelopmental delays. So I knew that, and I didn't feel comfortable with my son being on that for 2 years. So I was like, before we start that, can we test these things? And she's like, no, there's no reason. And I was like, yeah, there is, because little do you may know, but Keppra is going to cause him to waste all of his B6, his folic acid, and his B12, and going to further potentiate a seizure and make it worse in the future. So I need to know whether or not this was the cause, whether or not he's low on vitamin B6, and whether or not we can do something about that. And I would like to know his vitamin D, because I know it lowers the seizure threshold, tremendously. They disagreed. I had some very choice words for that doctor. And needless to say, we never saw her again. I remember in a moment in the hospital, looking out the window, that some other father was going to be standing in this room, not understanding how their child at 5 months old has this significant health problem, such as a seizure. And the doctors don't want to empower you in any sort of way, and don't want to try to do anything else other than what they were taught. And it's just protocols. It's just, this is another 5-month-old that has seizures. He gets Keppra first, and then if that doesn't work, then he gets this medicine. Then if that doesn't work, then he gets this medicine. If that doesn't work, then he gets this medicine. And if that doesn't work, then we just try them all. And it's just this protocol. It's this algorithm. And they saw my 5-month-old son as just another one. It kind of like the assembly line. It's just, nope, there's another one. I know exactly how to treat this. Just use the protocol, use the medicine. Yep. My son hasn't taken Keppra since 4 weeks after that hospital visit, and he hasn't had a seizure since. We went to a holistic health practitioner, and we got vitamin D tested. We got heavy metals tested. We got our vitamin B12 tested, and a whole panel of labs tested. And lo and behold, his vitamin D was critically low at 18. He has a gene mutation that does not allow him to metabolize B vitamins. And that is where his seizures come from. His gene mutation, well known to produce seizures, issues with neurological development, cognitive function, and whatnot. And heavy metals were negative. He wasn't iron toxic or anything like that. His copper was okay. And all the other labs looked good, but those were the two big ones. And it's exactly what I had said. I had asked her to look for, and she just completely refused it. So all we did was give him some vitamin D drops throughout the wintertime. We started supplementing him with methylated B vitamins and a ketogenic diet. So Tiffany went completely carnivore at that time, and she lost weight. She felt amazing, and my son didn't have seizures. And it's like we have no developmental issues with him anymore, and he doesn't take medicine that we were told that he's going to have to be on to prevent these seizures. But clearly it's not true. And in that moment in the hospital, when I really thought that someone else is gonna feel so powerless to what's happening to their kid, and they feel like there's nothing to do about it, it just lit a fire inside of me, and just made me very honestly angry that this is the way that it is, this injustice that continues to happen to us on a daily basis for our health, and how we're being sold and told the wrong things. I can't live with the thought that the innocence of the children in the world are just being destroyed by people that the mainstream thoughts are creating these problems. And I've known that for a long time, and it's brought me to the point. I was at this point a long time ago, but centralized in mainstream medicine is harming more people than they're helping. They're harming more people than they're helping. And I'm having a hard time living with that anymore. So that's why I'm talking about this stuff, because I don't want anybody else to have to go through these types of things without knowledge. And I don't want them to have lack of empowerment to go to some other person that doesn't know them, doesn't know their body at all, to tell them that, they need to do this, to heal them, and public health has only gotten worse since modern medicine has been instilled in the last 100 years. Everything's only gotten worse. So they don't know what they're talking about. I genuinely think that. They have no idea what they're talking about. Central medicine is great for emergencies and surgeries, like I said in my post yesterday, but it's absolutely terrible for really everything else. There's a lot of things that, they call idiopathic, meaning they don't have a reason for why it happens, but there's a reason for why it happens. So I hope I painted a good picture for why this means so much to me. Because I genuinely care for all people, and I care for the kids. The kids that are being damaged by this world breaks my heart every day. And the people that I see laying in the bed sometimes at the hospital. You get used to it, but it's really weird to say that you get used to watching somebody suffer. And it's from choices that they made that they didn't know any better, because they weren't given the right tools to know any better. And it sucks. So that's the whole point of me talking to anybody about any of this stuff, is to hopefully create a ripple effect of understanding of their own body and their own health and how to fix it. I'm trying to train people to become their own doctor, their own healer, their own nurse, whatever. I'm trying to train people and help people get to the point that they can figure out and tease out what is going on, so they can adjust course and go the right path. And that's the only way I can do it, because I'm not talking to you I'm not, giving health or medical advice, because I'm not a doctor, but I'm a person just waking you up to the environment you live in. And it's the only thing that I find important anymore, is to get people to understand that there is a greener pasture. It's just, we've all been told that there's that this is the green pasture, and it's not. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers by any means, but I know I can get absolutely anybody started. And I need more people to be able to collaborate with, to talk about this stuff. People that have good minds, people that want to understand what is going on with the world. Because what else matters, to be honest? None of this materialistic life that we live matters. It just doesn't. We're losing connection with ourselves, losing connection with the people around us, and There's only one way to fix it. You have to face it head on. Lean on to your friends and family. Trust that you have been given a gift, and the gift of life, and the fact that you are alive, you should not give any of that power away to anybody. So really, at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is empower people and make them realize their gift. Because I can't stand what I see every day as a healthcare professional. It's put me to tears more times than I can count. Just because I see how it happens. I genuinely see how it happens. And there's no bad doctors. It's not what I'm saying. It's just they're doing what they're taught. And they were sold that this is the way to do it. And that's okay. And they think that they're doing the best things, and some of them are doing amazing things. But they're looking at it from the wrong angle. And to think that we can shortcut or make any better what evolution has done for us the last 2 million years in 100 years of science is just asinine. Stupid. We've all forgotten nature. We've all forgotten it. Kind of losing my steam here. I hope that makes the point. This is all for the kids. This is all for human health. And this is to actually helping people and not harming them anymore. So I hope if you made it to this point, I hope you truly understand what I'm saying. I'm here for you. And you're here for me. And that's what I need. And that's what you need. We need people together again. Because we're all very disconnected from what created us. And I think it explains everything for the state of health today. So, kind of rambling and ranting, talking about random stuff. But I hope that makes the point. All right.